Seth, I think the big takeaway from all this is that it would appear that if we're waiting for criminal charges against Deshaun Watson, that at least was kind of put on hold or at least delayed yesterday, according to Buzbee. And yet the civil lawsuits continue to pile up. There doesn't appear to be an end in sight for the civil side of this thing.
Yeah, is Deshaun, like, what's Deshaun's strategy right this moment? If Deshaun was, because you know how I would be if I were Deshaun Watson in this situation, guilty or innocent or what have you.
Stressed.
Of course, in my situation, I'd be innocent.
Yeah.
But being under investigation by all this, I don't know if I'd sleep more than like 3 hours a night.
No,
and then you get into that weird zone, twilight zone, where nothing makes sense because you're so chronically sleep deprived and you're so stressed out that you probably want to settle. And that's where I wonder sometimes if Buzbee's strategy of releasing things on Friday night, releasing things at night is kind of on keeping the screws turned on Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
So that it feels like, man, this is 24/7. It never ends. And at that point, that's when people might be more prone to settle.
That's a really interesting question. Like, what is Deshaun Watson feeling right now on a day-to-day basis? I feel like when you hire Rusty Hardin, that half the reason you're hiring him is because he's like a sedative for you. You know what I mean? Like, he's so good at what he does that at least, and he's expensive, obviously, I would assume. I've never had to use him before.
Relaxing.
Thank God. No.
Yeah, no, think about how much.
But I mean,
not just Harden's fees, it's all the other ones.
Right. But I mean, but Deshaun can afford it. You know, like my guess is that he's staring down the barrel of a bunch of settlements too. So the financial stress is already there, independent of Rusty Hardin. I would imagine part of the reason you get Rusty Hardin is that, okay, at least my lawyer is making me feel a little better about sleeping at night. Like, at least I know I've got a good sporting chance of beating this thing with Rusty Hardin as my lawyer. Like, that's part of the value, almost like a drug effect.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm thinking? I'm going to go to bed at night thinking at least Rusty Hardin is my lawyer.
I got to be more clear when I say things. One of our texters just said, guys, Tony is pressuring Watson to settle. I thought that's what it was. I not clear enough in saying that that's what...
Are you talking about when you said putting the screws to him?
Yeah. Oh, I guess I wasn't very clear about saying that.
I thought you meant just mentally, you know.
When I say that, I think it's in a pressure to get him to settle.
Yeah.
That it's that a lot of this doesn't necessarily make sense of what you're trying to do is actually... Like, it doesn't make... What Buzbee's doing isn't making sense if he's actually trying to get him sent to jail.
Right.
It makes sense if he's just trying to get Deshaun Watson to feel so much pressure that he settles. That he just says, I gotta make this go away. The problem, though, is that as he's doing this, too, I guess if Deshaun goes to Buzbee and says, please, make it stop, and obviously to have Harden do it.
Yeah.
The question that you need answered is, okay, but... you're still coming out with more lawsuits. Like, how do we put a cap on this? How do we stop this gusher of an oil well of lawsuits that keeps coming up when nobody seems to know exactly how many women might be coming forward?
Yeah, I don't know.
So I don't even know how you settle at this point.
I don't know.